Anyway, so I was just on the WhatsApp with all of the lads and was kind of saying I am fucking bored. I have like a solid afternoon with nothing to do between talking to fucking one person or another. I'm off work all this week, but of course I managed to fill it up with a whole load of going around talking to lads about dogs. And I said I have nothing to do, who's around, and everyone's all like, we're at work. Why don't you fucking go on your bike and get a fucking ice cream cone? And I'm like, that sounds like a whopper idea. So anyway, today is a day or two into a fairly warm, dry spell, which means everywhere is full of ice cream cones, and everyone's dusted off the Mr. Whippy machine, cleaned all the spiders and Frankensteins and ghosts out of it, and got an order in of that horrible syrupy chemical mix that you use to make ice cream these days, and fucking stuck it in there and went, ice cream cones, 99s, whatever a fucking 99 costs these days, like $4.50 or something. Also, for people from the area, I know of a couple of subscribers from the area, where's a good ice cream cone to be had around here? I know there's a place down in Clontarf, and Holt is likely not to disappoint in some respects, but let's start a holy war. Where's your favourite ice cream cone? Where are they not scabby to create a monstrous fucking mountain of soft ice cream and put a fucking flake into it without asking you if you want the flake? Of course I want the fucking flake, I want two. And so while I'm out, I have a life update, and then an ice cream update, and then another life update. So let me do that. This is proper moto vlogging. I'm not showing you any new gear or talking about motorbikes. It's all about me, baby. First life update, we actually found a place, like an actual place that we wanted to buy, and then we bought it, and now it's ours. And that was quick, but we were kind of looking for the last most of a year, so this was the culmination of it. And it's North Dublin still, and it's super nice, except it needs to be fucking gutted to scrape all of the dead granny out of the inside of it and replace it with modern wiring and plumbing and etc. So that'll be my wonderful project for the next little while. It comes complete with a Grumpy Shed Mark II, although Grumpy Shed is now like small suburban Grumpy Garage Mark II, so we'll see how that goes. There'll be a fit out, I'm sure, at some future point. Okay, Holt, give me them ice creams, let's do it. Right, that'll do nicely. Okay, back on it. Oh, life update number 2. And as part of this one, I have to admit and make an admission, and if you go back and look at all the videos I've made for the past almost over a year actually, where I've thought about, hey, you know, maybe this bike is right for me, or maybe I'm going to make fewer videos, or maybe we'll see about the channel, all that sort of shit. Or those of you who know me from outside the channel, which is a few of you, look at this, the fucking Stadia. Ah yeah, he's wearing a cycling bike helmet. That'll anyway, I won't do anything. Anyway, back to the other life update, which I was keeping a bit quiet about, and only really got resolved properly yesterday. So it was a good day yesterday. So let me run through this. And actually, it's funny, I've run through making a slightly different video that I would post up as the final video on the channel a few times. But let me post up the other triumphal sort of, you know, version of it, which is this one, which is I'm not banned from driving. As I discovered yesterday, which is brilliant. I enjoy not being banned from driving. It's good crack driving, having a driving license, and I enjoy it. So let me give you the full backstory. April of last year, April 2016, I was pulled over in the car actually for speeding, and it was on a road kind of near the place we used to live. It was a road I know very well. I would have come out of there, going to work most days, all that sort of stuff. I'd just gotten a new car. It was a fast car, and I sort of went, hey, you know, it's nice, it's April, it's the first proper day actually like this it was, and I went, hey, and fucking buried the boot, and next minute there's fucking blue lights behind me, and I'm like, oh fuck. The one day you go out and fucking let it rip. And I was going, I'm not going to go into too many details, but I was going very fast indeed. So on that road, or that stretch of road that it happened to be, so it was bad crack. The guard by the roadside gave me what can only really be described as a savage bollocking, and sort of sent me on my way. But he basically said, like, you know, I'm on this checkpoint for the day, otherwise if I was randomly out on patrol and I caught you, you'd be under arrest right now, which is not a nice thing to hear when you're out for a drive. So that was bad crack. He never told me what I was getting done for, but he had mentioned dangerous driving. He sort of said, listen, it's too fucking fast, I can't just give you a ticket. It'll be up to me sergeant what happens next. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. So no fine came in the post, which is both good and bad. I was hoping for just a fine to come in the post and that'll be the end of it, but no. It was April it happened, and October of last year a fucking summons finally arrived. Some decrepit old guard pulled up to the gate and said, this is for you, fuckface. And so I was up in court in December, and in December it was like, you know, 2 seconds where my solicitor showed up and said, talk to me instead of him. And I learned a lot about how courts work. So I was charged, or was accused of dangerous driving, section 53, which is bad crack. And you know, people sort of say to me, that'll get bumped down and you'll be alright, it's your first offence, all this sort of stuff. But I was in Naas District Court, which for those of you familiar with Naas District Court, there is a judge out there who is not fond of the speed, and it was put people in prison before for speed. It always sort of, you know that what's actually going to happen, but then it sort of weighs on your mind in your darkest hours. You're sort of going, you know, what's this fucker going to do? And so in a lot of cases what happens on the first offence is they just say, it's only careless driving, so here's a fine and points, and not necessarily even a ban. But I was going in there yesterday with the most likely outcome being that he'd ban me for 2 years at least. And that was bad crack. We had been making plans to move to where, you know, there's less driving involved for a couple of years, and it kind of accelerated the plans slightly. It wasn't the only reason we moved, but it was, you know, it certainly brought up the timetable a little bit. And so the prospect of not having a driver's license was especially bad crack where we used to live. So went in yesterday for the final figuring out of the situation, and yeah, whatever happened, and it was done in a very kind of, there was certain aspects of it, and I don't want to get into too much detail, where it was like, yeah, a bunch of fucking strokes were pulled, and all I can really say is, for people who are brought up on any of this stuff, is get a good fucking solicitor who is local to the court and who knows the judge and might know the guards. That's all I'll say on the matter. So eventually a bunch of nice things were said, and I got off with careless driving, which is not great still. It's a stiff fine and 5 points on my licence, but it certainly beats the alternatives. And so for the last, close to a year actually, I've been holding off on any stuff to do with like whether I want to change the bike, or whether I want to buy new gear, or whether I want to make any longer term investments in the channel or anything like that. Not that, you know, not that I can think of what that might be, because like it all might just fucking go, you know, overnight. So 5 points on the license is bad crack, and a fine of fucking 800 quid is also bad crack. And all, you know, before you end up in the all I really say is get a good lawyer situation, is all I really say is like, take it fucking handy, because you never know when there's a chap behind you in an unmarked car, as what happened to me. And they do have the tech now. They have the camera in the car that can, you know, clock you as the car is moving, and that's how I was got. And he had a video of me, and he had me bang the fucking rights. There was no defense, there was no nothing at all. It was like, yep, that's, yeah, you got me. So that was it. Whew. So that was that's the life update slash wonderful news slash shameful secrets for today. Yeah, if I learned anything, is that, you know, going at crazy fucking speeds, I know everyone, you know, goes over the speed limit sometimes, especially when the speed limit is stupid, but doing crazy speeds is just not fucking worth it. And if that makes me less cool in your eyes, then you can just go and eat a fucking family-sized bag of dicks. And on that sage advice, I will bid you all a good day. Have a good one. Enjoy the weather. And see you next time. Thank fuck.